Hello again. A funny thing happened up in Missouri at James River Church. They had this men's conference. Guest speaker was Mark Driscoll, who's been at these conferences for several years. Well, they opened the conference by having this man who has been a male stripper come out on this platform, and he had this tall pole, and he rips his shirt off, and then he swallows a sword, climbs the pole and such. Okay. Following that, I believe the next morning, Mark Driscoll comes out to speak, and he gets down on one knee and says, "This is wrong. This is all the Jezebel spirit." And climbing that pole was an Asherah pole. And climbing that pole, he ascended the pole, and our God isn't arrogant like that. Before he ascended, he first descended. And he went on, and then the pastor called him out and told him to get off the stage. "You're done." And the crowd turned into an uproar. Call him back, and all this stuff. And the pastor went on explaining how what Mark Driscoll did was wrong and all this stuff. And there's been a lot of talk about that. Every other person out there's got a podcast on it. What's interesting, you think of how the pastor overseeing this men's conference, afraid of being told he was wrong, having to control the narrative, call Mark Driscoll off the stage like that. You have to wonder why he thought he needed some kind of big demonstration like this, just trying to reach people through. As in the past, they've done monster truck demonstrations and boxing and things like that to open up these men's conferences, thinking that appeals to men. That's sad. That's very sad. But you look at the Mark Driscoll side of it, and what he did, I think he was right in what he did. What he said, though, is illuminating. No, it wasn't an Asherah pole. He is over-spiritualizing that according to his own sensibilities. And no, it wasn't an issue of ascending and descending, trying to apply that biblical understanding to it. It wasn't an issue of that. It really reminded me of back in the 80s, Mylon Lefevre, big Christian rocker, invited David Wilkerson to a concert because David Wilkerson, for years, had been talking about rock music is of the devil. And then he was going on about how Christian rock is satanic and it's a deception and stuff. So Mylon Lefevre, being a man of solid character, as he was, reached out to David Wilkerson and said, come see what's going on before you talk about it. So David Wilkerson came, and he was happy to hang out with Mylon Lefevre and his band and stuff, and thought very well of them. And then the concert started, and it was rock music. Well, David Wilkerson had trained himself, trained his conscience a certain way with all his preaching on the subject of rock and roll. So when the music plays for about 5 minutes, all of a sudden David Wilkerson sees, he has a vision of the devil's face above the stage and demons all around the concert hall. So he's running around, carrying on like a lunatic, screaming out, "It's of the devil, it's of the devil." Well, very similar to me of this, what Mark Driscoll did. He talked about it being the Jezebel spirit. Well, he's been preaching on the Jezebel spirit the last couple years. So that's a thing to him, you know. As they say, a hammer sees everything as a nail. So what are we to make of this? Was somebody right? Was somebody wrong? Was anyone wearing a white hat in this? I don't think so. I think the whole thing is a good representation of little kids in a big sandbox arguing over their Tonka trucks. It's just a representation of the severe immaturity in the American church.
Out of their minds 'cause they're drinking the Kool-Aid. Y'all are out of your minds 'cause you're drinking the Kool-Aid.